Welcome back to AniMay17, your daily dose of anime every day in May. Today, let's dive into the world of Natsume's Book of Friends. Natsume Yuujinchou, or Natsume's Book of Friends, is a slow-paced, lighthearted slice-of-life show about a teenager with the ability to see and interact with yokai, essentially ghosts from Japanese mythology. I find yokai to be pretty fascinating. Their designs and stories are so unique from English and American ghost stories, and their mark is all over Japanese media, especially in video games. A lot of my favorite games of all time, from Okami to Persona, Goemon, and especially the Pokemon series, have strong yokai influence. While the variety of yokai designs in the first episodes of Natsume leave a little bit to be desired, I was nonetheless intrigued by the possibilities of a show like this. The story is episodic in nature, and each episode presents a new problem or a new character for Natsume to overcome. So ever since Natsume has been very young, he's been able to contact these yokai when others can't, and coupled with the death of his parents, he's been labeled an outcast, and even his string of relatives consider him a freak. Thus, Natsume comes across as very detached, and always seems distracted or in a rush to his peers. In reality, Natsume is constantly on the run, as many of these yokai are actually out to harm him. It turns out, Natsume's grandmother Reiko was renowned in the yokai world for being ruthlessly strong and challenging all manner of yokai to duels. When she won, Reiko would claim the yokai's name in servitude and add it to her Book of Friends. Now every yokai Reiko defeated is out for revenge to reclaim their power from her heir Natsume. Now, if it weren't for the simplistic, cutesy character design and the nostalgic, watercolor aesthetic, this premise would make an absolutely terrifying show. I actually found myself startled a number of times at some of the yokai designs, and even though the show usually plays off these creepier characters for laughs, I can't help imagining a Junji Ito remake of some of these scenes and how dramatically different their tone would be. What ends up happening is that Natsume has no interest in calling upon the power of the yokai written in the Book of Friends, but rather learns how to return the names to their respective hosts by the feline spirit Madara. In exchange, Natsume promises the Book of Friends to Madara in the event that he should die while trying to return all the names. Again, this leads to a lot of potentially horrific scenarios, and sets up Madara as an unreliable bodyguard who has every incentive to kill Natsume, or at least refuse to protect him. Word of Natsume's plan spreads, and he's visited daily by yokai either attempting to steal the Book of Friends for their own use, or politely asking for their names back, both of which take a lot of Natsume's energy to deal with. As such, Natsume always has this glazed look in his eye and talks in a very exasperated tone, and this translates to the tone of the show as well, where almost everything Natsume does feels like a big chore that's exponentially draining him. The first few episodes left me feeling very sleepy, both from the occasional high-energy chases and fights to the laid-back pace of everything else. And there's a lot of downtime in each episode, with some attempts at comedy mostly from Madara's antics, but the real kicker is the emphasis on the emotional drama. You see, a major theme of Book of Friends is loneliness and a desire to belong. Natsume's emotional trauma and labeling mirror the struggles of many of the yokai he meets. Scary yokai just want a hug, and neglected shrine spirits will lose their power and die if no one comes to pray to them. Each of the opening episodes had a surprisingly poignant message that left a pit in my stomach. I felt genuine sympathy and loss for characters who had very little screen time to develop, and that way, Book of Friends does an excellent job in storytelling and conveying its message. All of these elements left me physically and emotionally drained, however, which coincides nicely with Natsume's own journey. If you're looking for a calming show or one to help vent some emotions, Natsume Yuujinchou will definitely scratch that itch. I could see the show becoming less depressing as it goes along, with Natsume growing to actually befriend some of the yokai, seeing as how it would be mutually beneficial, but with my little taste, Natsume didn't really entice me too much, and the show's pathos wasn't really what I was looking for at the time. And that's another day in the books! Tune in tomorrow for the next installment of AniMay17.